This video is for me to talk about my designs that I have done in the past and when I started doing it and how I got into it. Okay. My stepdad worked at Iowa Steel. He was a foundry worker, iron worker, and welding fabricator. And he was very good at designing. And we argued all the time and fought, exception of when we were designing something and building it. And he's the one that got me into designing. Now, my real dad was a mechanic, crane operator, machine maintenance, and machinist. But it was my stepdad, surprisingly, that got me into this. So, like, you know, what did I design? Well, and when did I start? Well, when I was riding motocross bikes at a very young age, you know, I got into designing different things for it. I would say one of the, not the earliest design, but one of the things I did was I made a reed booster out of a piece of oak that goes between the carburetor and the reeds. And I would make different versions of it, trying to get a little more performance. And let's see, there was a contest back in those days in magazines to design different things, and then you would send it in, and if they liked your design, they'd use it. Of course, you wouldn't get nothing out of it. It's just a contest. Well, you might have won some money or something. So I was doing that. You know, over the years, I designed different things. It might have been, well, people would come in here and they wanted something fabricated, and I would help my stepdad do that, you know, design different things. Now, I worked on one idea that I tried to get patented, and I worked on it at a very young age. I was watching one of those TV shows, That's Incredible, and got the idea when I watched them use solar cells to power different things. And I wanted to create this light that was self-powering. And I worked on it for a long time, actually all through high school. A few years after getting out of high school, some people suggested that I try to get a patent on the light. They thought it wasn't just to get a patent on the light. People actually wanted to use this light. So I tried to get a patent. As soon as I signed a contract with a patent attorney, right away that was $6,000. And the patent attorney told me that you shouldn't give everybody everything all at once. You know, give them the simplest version, and then year after year after year, you know, come out with a different model and better and better and better, so you can keep selling, not just give everybody everything all at the first time it comes out. Well, he liked the light, and I was told that the government had an interest in it. Hey, that's good. But as soon as I was told that, the bills just kept on piling up faster and faster, and I kind of got the idea that maybe he wanted the patent, or wanted the idea, you know, and I was never going to get the patent. Well, one of the problems, too, was he kept on telling me that, well, what I had in the light to make it work wasn't in production yet, wasn't being manufactured. So the production line wouldn't be able to just make this light. They're going to have to make the actual items that are going to make the light work. Like, well, I was trying to find a light source, and I kept on going back and forth from halogen to krypton bulb and LED. Well, LED, is more can handle water and moisture better. But the LED that I wanted wasn't yet in production. And LEDs at that time, this would have been like 1992, were too expensive. And the battery source that I wanted wasn't being made yet. I mean, it was in the works, you know. You read up on these, you know, Popular Mechanics magazines, you know, and in the future this battery is going to be made, and you know, so this was my idea to go into this, but it wasn't, you know, readily available or in production yet. Well, so I signed this non-disclosure agreement, but what the patent attorney got was the simplest version of it that was basically an outline of the design. So he didn't get the schematics, and he didn't get, you know, everything about it. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you, you know, I'm not too happy about these non-disclosure agreements. They're really, you know, I'm on the losing end on them all. And considering he didn't get everything to begin with, I really don't see any problem with talking about it. Now, so this was a light that would, you know, use, you know, it was solar, but once it was started, what the whole purpose of it was it was self-powering. So unlike the solar stuff that you see now, the way in which it was designed and the way that, you know, it was supposed to work is it would constantly work once it was started. So if you were in a cave and you couldn't get to sunlight, it would still have power, you know, days or weeks later. It might eventually not be able to power itself completely and over time wear itself down, but it should stay powered for a long time. Now, it had prisms on it, so you could see it from a long distance if it was in water, and it floated. It had a hole in the bottom of it that you could thread a shaft up through, and it had a magnet in it, a good sized one, where you could stick it to the hull of, say, a Navy ship. And the magnet, I was debating on actually using the magnet as another purpose. No, I'm not going to tell you about that. But anyway, later on, years later, when I worked for another company, the schematics for the light, the power of the light, I actually gave to that Korean engineer. Now, about a year and a half or so after that, your little solar lights started coming on the market outside. So I don't know if that came from what I gave him or not, and they, you know, they re-engineered it, but it's possible. Now, other things I've designed, a lot of automotive stuff, like adapter plates, you know, for carburetors, you know, to go on an intake, brackets. The stepdad also used to put roll cages in for stock car drivers out here for a long time, and so, you know, I kind of got into that, and then I got into engines, and that was always the thing. I kept on coming back to engines. I wanted to change a small block Chevy 350. I wanted to get rid of the distributor, put a power pack, you know, on, you know, so it'd be no distributor, but it'd be a power pack to get rid of the cabin rotor that always burned out. Use a roller cam, but regrind it. Use longer push rods. That was one idea. And the other idea was a pretty exotic one. I drew up, of course, you know, it was never done, and that was to get rid of the camshaft, get rid of the lifters, get rid of the push rods, and then use a head that was drilled for guide plates, and then put a setup on there that had solenoids that actually operated the valves through a computer. So that way you could change your, you would, instead of being a ramp profile on a cam, you'd just be able to change the complete profile of, you know, the valves, your, you know, your timing. So you could go down the road and have the best gas mileage you possibly could get, and this would all be computer controlled, and then switch over to, you know, like race mode, where it would be a gas guzzler and have it a rump-diddy-rump. You know, you could change it so it would sound like a 264 duration, or 268 duration, or 278, or 282. I thought that was a smart idea. But then again, you know, it would cost too much to do that. But wouldn't that have been neat? Well, tools. That was another thing I got into designing, was tools and improving on tools. Um, and a lot of times I would just, like I said, I'd give it away. So, and I kept on hoping that if I designed something and I give you the design and you make it, you can at least have the decency to send me one afterwards. Quite a few of them that I, improved upon. Here's an example. Now, after Howitson had called here wanting that statement, I was bummed for quite a long time, and I was over at the park with my dog, and I was sitting at the bench, and this guy comes up and he says, "Boy, you look like you're bummed." So I told him what was, about the situation. And I said, "Oh, you're probably not going to believe me." And then he says, "Well, so you're good at designing things?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, he's a tool engineer. In fact, I think he was a tool engineer for a company here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa." And he says, "Well, so how good are you at it?" So I pulled out a multi-tool. Now, at that time, multi-tools just kind of flopped around, and they were really kind of a pain in the to use. And I said, "You know what you need to do with this to really improve it?" He says, "What?" I said, "Drill 2 holes in the back of it. Put a pinch spring in it." And I said, "Now that's one idea. That's the cheapest way to do it." But I said another way to do it would be to take it apart, cut a circle in it, a groove, and 2 holes, one on each side. And he says, "Why is that?" And I said, "Think of it as a tensioned spring clamp on a hose. And you have the prongs going the opposite way, and it sets in the middle of there. And then when you put the tool together, every time you go to close the multi-tool, it opens up." Now, shortly after that, it did come out on the market. Now, the question is, was that me giving that idea to that tool engineer? Well, the tool engineer asked me if he could use my idea. And I said to him, yes, you can use my idea, but it would be nice if somebody would give me, the final product afterwards. Of course, he didn't. And it's curious if that is how it got improved, because, now on the market, that's the way it is. It's interesting. So, other things I've designed. Camping survival items, gardening stuff, because, we like to, put things in our gardens. I've designed large arbors made out of rebar that look like houses. I got one out here out there in our orchard now, and I've had a lot of people over the years compliment me on it. There's a lot of different things, and most of it come out of need. Now, how many designs have I designed? I wouldn't be surprised if it could have been in the thousands. When Mark Zuckerberg got here, or came here to work on his schooling, just before that, I was very upset because, the health problems, and I was trying to figure out a way to get this online business started, and I'm saying, "Oh God, please help me." And I got so mad over being sick, I started taking piles of notebooks that had my designs in it, and I'm telling you, I had a pile. I mean, this was a good foot tall or more. So you can imagine how much was in it. Plus, I have graphing paper that I use, that I have boxes of, and my designs are shoved in the zipper type portfolios, stacked up. And I just got in a mood, and I just started throwing them in a burn barrel one at a time, and I was burning them. Well, a friend that come down from Wisconsin, and he saw what I did, and he kicked the barrel over and started stomping on them. He said, "Why did you do that?" I guess I just didn't feel I was that great. He thought I was. And what? I'd say 99% of everything I threw in the trash burned up. Now, there's a few things left in some portfolios, but I don't think anything was, anything that great. Now, over the years, I, got into just away from just designing things, and I got into theories. When I got into astronomy, um, the astrophysicist James Van Allen is the one that helped me, get my first, got me into astronomy, and told me where to look at for my first scope. And I think the scope's got some serious history, because the astronomer that owned it, it's an institutional one, committed suicide, and it possibly was one of his colleagues or a friend. And over the years, I had met some people there, and for a while they were sending me CDs of symposiums to listen to on astrophysics, and there was some pretty. So I started getting a different mindset, you know. And then I started. I couldn't really read very well because of the vertigo problem, but that's why they were sending me the CDs to listen to. And I had some theories about a different way of generating electricity, and some people thought it was kind of interesting, and somebody said that they took a pretty serious interest into it. But then astrophysics, this is really my thing. I mean, I like the astronomy bit. I like looking at the Jupiter and its moons, and going out with the large astronomy binoculars, and taking pictures. But I don't know. I got kind of bored with the other. I might get back into it again. Give me some time. I got my moods, But yeah, I've designed quite a few things. Quite a few things. So you wanted to know. I guess that's about the best I can tell you. So, thank you.